Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today for Digital Natives in the Flipped Classroom. I'm really excited about today's presentation. I hope that you are too. I know that there's some confusion about how this can work in an online classroom, even though you've all recognized this as being successful in brick and mortar classrooms. But I'm here to assure you it's working in my classroom and I know it can work in yours as well. So let's begin with a little background information on digital natives and who they are. You're going to recognize this right away. Today's students are the first generations to grow up in using technology as their primary source of information. These kids were born into it. They are no longer the people that our educational system was designed to teach for that very reason. They think and process information fundamentally differently from their predecessors, and therein lies the problem. We are teachers trying to reach these students using techniques and methodologies that are no longer adapting to, or that are no longer useful in their environment. We need to adapt to them. So what are these characteristics that we need to adapt to? They are used to receiving information really fast. That's your digital native. They like to parallel process and multitask. They prefer the graphics before their text rather than the opposite. And you can think about anytime you go to, say, AOL or wherever you go for your news, when you click on a news story, the first thing you see is not the text, it is a video, because that's how digital natives operate. And these AOL and Google and all those things, they're on to this. They understand that, and we need to understand it too. They prefer random access like hypertext. They function best when networked. They thrive on instant gratification and frequent rewards. They prefer games to serious work. Now be careful with that, because we can be very serious about what they need to learn, but it doesn't have to appear that way to the student. They're still going to grasp it. So stop what you're doing. You will not reach your students with 20-slide PowerPoints. You will not reach your students by teaching at them. You will not reach your students using immigrant techniques or methodology. You will, however, reach your students if you engage and empower them, and that's where the flipped classroom comes in. So the issue, at the heart of the issue, is us, the digital immigrant instructors. We speak an outdated language. We're struggling to teach a population that speaks an entirely new language, and that is the language of technology. So we are immigrants who learned and so choose to teach slowly, step by step, one thing at a time, individually, meticulously, and above all, seriously. And that doesn't work for these kids. So in order for us to be successful, we need to start abandoning that. We need to acclimate to their environment and meet these kids on their turf. Today's teachers have to learn to communicate in the language and style of their students. They're not going to change to suit us, I assure you. We need to be less step-by-step, more parallel, with more random access, among other things. We need to incorporate our legacy content, which of course is important. These are our standards. This is what the kids need to know to be successful and pass Keystones. That's our traditional curriculum. But we also need to find a way to figure out, to infuse future content as well, which is the digital and technological aspect of what we teach. As instructors, we need to shift our methodology to address both legacy and future content and meet the kids on their turf. So the solution really comes down to the digital immigrant, us, wanting to reach the digital natives. Your students, every one of them is a digital native. You will have to change, and you will succeed in the long run if you do so. Excuse me. So how do we do that? A good first step is the flipped classroom. We don't have access to content area gaming software. I would love to engage the kids in a game of Mortal Kombat and have them learn English while they're doing it. That'd be fabulous. It doesn't work that way. We don't have that. But we do have at our fingertips a very basic means by which we can meet the kids on their turf, and that's the flipped classroom. Now, this is where a lot of misconception lies. At its core, the flip means shifting the focus from the instructor to the student. That is a flip. When people hear flip, they think the kids have to do homework at home. The kids have to read outside of class. Not necessarily. That's not what flip means. So just abandon that misconception, okay? Detach that from the meaning of the word flip and think of it this way. You are used to teaching at the kids, and the kids receive that information. We're going to flip that. That's what we're flipping. We're not flipping when the learning takes place, because essentially that's not how a flip works, especially in a cyber classroom. The flip moves away from being defined as only something that happens in class versus out of class. Instead, we focus on what students are doing to construct knowledge, connect with others, and engage in higher levels of critical thinking and analysis. And this again applies to both online and face-to-face environments. Essentially, what this boils down to is the real flip is not about where activities take place. It's about flipping the focus from you to your students. And this is really important. The flip does not have to occur outside of the live session. Our student population does not function that way. I recognize that. So if you force this piece into the puzzle, a flip will never work for you. Do not try and force the outside of the classroom work into this piece of the puzzle. It will fail. What we're going to look at today when we return to the presentation room is something I made up called VQ Creep, and I'm having a lot of success with it. Video with cheat sheet, quiz them, clarify for them, read and or discuss depending on your content area, extend with enrichment, or practice depending on their quiz score. Let's take a deeper look at this. The content is at its core differentiated from most learning profiles by presenting a cheat sheet and a video that the kids can interact with, rewind, fast forward, they can read, they can highlight, they can print it out. You're appealing to a lot of different learning styles and profiles. The R, the content process, can be further differentiated by varying the reading material. If you have kids entering at a different readiness level, if you have kids entering at a different interest level, give them something different to read. Extend incorporates both individual and collaborative learning, which is, again, fabulous for 21st century skills. And again, the Extend is DOK based, so you're going to have a chance to challenge these kids on all different levels, on 4 different levels. The tools you'll need, very simple, your course Prezi, PPT, or any other presentation creator, Screencast-O-Matic, which is how I'm coming to you right now, and Zaption, which is one of the coolest tools since sliced bread. I love it. So that's what it's all about. That's what the flipped classroom is all about. That's what digital natives are. You are a digital immigrant. Get it? Got it? Alleluia. Right now, you're going to take a 5-question quiz. Shouldn't take you no time at all. When you finish, please return to the presentation room. Give me a green check mark to let me know. Thanks, everyone.